what it is it's a tool that allows you to make interactive content within Brightspace. So you can create different types of tools that might have tabs that open up or flashcards or all different types of content that might help you to just make something more interesting for the students than uploading, a PowerPoint or a PDF or some type of document. And everything related to Creator Plus is all in the same menu that we'll look at in just a minute. There's also a tool called LUMI. LUMI is part of Creator Plus, and it's in the quiz tool. And what LUMI is an AI-based tool that will look at content that you provide to it, and it will create questions based upon that content. And the questions will be similar to the types of questions you could build in the regular quiz tool. They'll just be in the practice section of Creator Plus. So these would be ungraded quizzes, but you could certainly take this content, paste it into a graded quiz later if you chose to do so. All right, so what we're going to do is take a look at these tools and how they actually work. So I'm here in a sandbox course, and what we're going to do is we're going to open up a page or a file where we can add some text. You can add this Creator Plus icon in any menu that contains this button right here. This button right here is the Creator Plus logo, and any tools related to Creator Plus will be in here. So this one is a file, but if I were to create maybe a discussion, if I can find that same logo, see, it doesn't have it in here, but maybe we have it in assignments. Let's see if that one has it. All right, so for right now, we have to do this in page by creating a new file or a new page. So we're going to come here to this icon, the Creator Plus icon, and any type of content where you would add text or you would add information for your students to learn would be called an element. So when I click on Insert Element, it gives me a wide variety of different types of elements I can choose from. So let's take a look at this first one, the accordion. It gives some directions. I can edit this page if I want to, so I can give different directions if this isn't what I want to tell them. And then I can enter a title. So maybe I want to do a section on Creator Plus. Then I want to add some content. Tell it right. Right, so I can add that. I can also add other types of content. So for example, if I want to add embed code for a video, if I want to add any other types of content that it allows me to use in the space, I can do that. Here's the button for your embed code right here. But you can also add anything else. You have this Insert Stuff button. So if you want to get a file from your computer, or if you want to find a YouTube video, or an Alexander Street video, or video code, or a link, you can add that type of content to it. It doesn't have to be text. So any content you want to add in this first tab, we'll put here. And then let's have a second tab of content. And so we can have a tab about LUMI. And if I wanted to add a picture, I can add that with the image button right here. So I have the same text tools I would normally have. And then maybe I want a larger accordion. Maybe I have a lot of content about this topic. I can add more items, or I can take that extra item away, depending on what I need to do. And then it gives me a chance to preview. So here I can preview, I can take a look at what my accordion would look like, and I can click Insert. I do need to create a title. Then I can save this. So now if I looked at this as a student, the student would get a box like this where they can expand different text. And it doesn't have to be very short text like what I did here. It could be a paragraph or something longer. It could be a video. It could be images. Any content that you wanted to share with them, it can be shared right here. But it has other tools as well. So in addition to the accordion, we can add other types of elements. There is a tab tool, which looks very similar to the accordion one. It's just horizontal instead of being vertical like the accordion. We have click and reveal. The way this one works is they have buttons where they can get a prompt, and then it can reveal like a flashcard type answer for helping them review different content. So let's add something here. At that, we can add plenty more of these if we want to add more. I can preview, so I can see that I have my flashcard option here. If I'm happy with this, I can save. Oh, I do need a title. But if I'm happy with how that one worked out, then I can just add that. And I have additional content. And there are several more options. So if you don't particularly want to use those options, there are things. There is this call out. This is a similar type of tool. And so we see with this one, what I get is a box of highlighted text. And I do not have to put these in separate pages like I am right now. So if I wanted to, I could have one page and put these items in there together. That's completely fine. We can just choose from any tool that we wanted. So if I wanted to add a new tool to this page right here, I could simply enter down to where I have some blank space. I could come up here to insert element, and maybe I want to add a flip card. So now in this particular box, I have two interactive elements. I have my call out up here. Then I have a flip card right here. And so it looks like I put the answer in the wrong spot, but I can go back and edit that. I can click on it right here and choose edit. Then I can just go ahead and change that to be where I wanted it to be. So maybe I want it there. So again, that's that pencil button. And now when I click it, it works like a flip card, just like this. And there's a whole bunch of other tools within the content side of this. So I'm not limited to these options. There is the hotspot option. This one allows me to add an image and then have people identify things upon the image. And we also have the carousel. This one would allow me to have a variety of images. I wanted to show people a progression of different things. So I have lots of options here for creating the content. And then once I've done so, I might want to ask people questions about what they've learned. I might want to add some practice questions. And that is where the second part of Creator Plus comes in, which is under the same menu, and it's Insert Practice. And here I have several different options for practice questions I can create. Any of these can be used within Creator Plus. And if I also want to use them with LUMI, which is the AI tool, that is what this little stars icon on the right means. So these particular tools can be used with LUMI as well to generate question content. So for example, maybe I want to create a multiple choice question. So I'm going to click here to generate a question. And if you see here, it's identified the text that I've already put within this file. But if I had additional text, if I had more things that I wanted to add, maybe from a different page that it isn't seen right here, I can add that content as well. And then once I've done all of this, it will generate a question for me based upon my content. And so you see right here, it's spinning. It's trying to think of a question based upon what I told it. I would get better responses from this if I had more text in my content part, because that is the only information it will pull from. The big difference between this and say like ChatGPT, which will also create questions for you, is that LUMI does not know any information about your content unless you type it into this box. Brightspace has programmed it to not look for outside information and to not generate information you didn't tell it, because it wants to bring in content that is directly tied to your course content. But you can add as much content as you want to up to that file size that it allows. So you see it did create a question for me, a multiple choice question. I can check that the answer is what I wanted. And you see that I can also, it did get it right. I can randomize this if I want. And if I wanted to add to this or edit this, this is fully editable, just like a regular test question. And then I can insert this into my practice. All right, and then this part's a little confusing, but where it says your practice has been saved, you may now close this dialog. The button for that is this X up there. So you see now in my file, I have multiple choice, I have my content, and I can save and close. And all of this is right here. And I can add any regular text elements between these items. So if I want more detailed directions, or if I want pictures or some sort of graphic to break up the text, I can add that as well. This is still the regular text editing menu. This is just a plugin that goes into that menu. Are there questions before we talk about anything else? Okay. I do want to show one other option for creating test questions with AI. If you would like to do a large volume of test questions all at once, which is not what LUMI is designed to do, another option you have is that you can take text and place it into ChatGPT and ask it to create questions, or ask it to create an outline, or ask it to create other content, which we could then bring into Brightspace in a similar way that we would use with LUMI. So what I'm going to do here, just to get a little bit bigger block of text, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write 10 multiple choice questions All right, so here we have text. It is currently writing questions for me. And if I had a volume of questions and wanted to do it this way instead, I can do this as well. So if I like any of these questions, I can also add these. So this is one option. I also have options with this where I could take that same text. So if I wanted help structuring content that I could add to Brightspace in Creator Plus, maybe I wanted stuff broken out into slides. Here, what I've done is I've taken an article and I asked it to break this into an outline of 4 points per topic. Then it created for me an outline. And I could take this content and put this into Creator Plus and any of the tools that we just looked at, and then present this using that. So it saves quite a few steps compared to, reading and creating this independently. Are there questions before we start practicing some of these tools? Pam.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for doing this session. I know that under UDL, we're encouraged to keep things very simple visually, but I wondered, are there any options for changing the appearance of any of this when we use the tools?
Yes and no. So let's take a look at what that would mean. Let's create a fresh box here. So you have some options. One option you have, of course, are these document templates that are part of the file creator tool. And you
Okay.
could certainly put items from Creator Plus into the existing outline that is here. You could also create a file and you see you have some ability within these boxes to edit
Uh-huh.
the way that it looks. So you do have control of your fonts. You have the ability to add images. So if you had images you wanted to add, that would break up some of the text. And the images can be accessible because Brightspace does allow you to add alt text, for your images. You can add video content to this or files from your computer. So while you don't have a ton of customizing capability of the boxes themselves, you do have the ability to make these somewhat more colorful. You also do have an accessibility checker in each of these boxes, which is this little button right here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've added a bunch of stuff and you want to see if it is still accessible, this little button here can help you to make sure that what you've done hasn't changed the accessibility of your content.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions before we get started with the practice part? Okay, if you have a sandbox course or an existing course or maybe an older course shell, a place that you could play around with these tools, go to that location in Brightspace. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try a few of these tools and see how it works for us. And you can try any of the tools that we looked at today. So if you prefer the Creator Plus type tools where you are creating content, we can take a look at that. If you're more interested in the practice quizzes, we can take a look at that as well. So just go to a location where you'll be able to do some practice, create some content, and let's try creating some things in there while we're in this group together. And then if we have questions, we can discuss what to do and what went wrong. So that would be the thing to do right now. If someone doesn't have a practice sandbox, or if you don't have an old course you can use, or if you don't have a place to do this work, just let me know in the chat, and I can add you to a sandbox so that you can take a look at these tools. And at any time, if you run into questions or something isn't working, just let us know, and we'll take a look at what's going on with your course.